Hi, this is Shannon from SIS, the number 4 teachers.org. Thanks so much for joining us on our tutorial video on doing a math task. A math task that we're going to be doing today is going to be called car wash. If you're new to the math tasks, be sure to watch our introductory video on what math tasks are so you understand the process that we're using in this tutorial video. We're trying to promote mathematical thinking to apply rigor for these tasks to have the application of students' math knowledge. We're going to be using the 8 math practices, also known as the process standards, to get students to apply their understanding in math with a little bit of a deeper way than just understanding things in a surface way. The task we're going to be doing is called car wash. We always want to do something called an anticipatory set. And so in this case, our anticipatory set is a still frame photo. It also could be a quick clipped video or even a storybook that might be talking about different kind of car washes. We want kids to really get into what we're going to be asking them. So in here, has anyone been to a car wash? Has anyone's family, washed car wash, washed their car maybe in their driveway? In the back of your mind, you're kind of thinking of what the anticipatory set is going to help us to do in order to answer this task. The task is my team is doing a car wash for a fundraiser. I washed 20 wheels at the car wash. How many cars did I wash? Now, obviously, this is asking kids to decompose the number 20. You also could bring this for littles down and use it with maybe you washed 8 wheels. How many cars did you wash? Maybe if you washed 4 wheels, how many cars did you wash? You also could bring this test down, if you wanted to do it maybe for, kindergarten or first grade by saying that you washed, 12 wheels, or if 16 wheels, something like that, to kind of help it differentiate based on the child that you're using it with. Now, some students looking at this car wash picture may have a background knowledge of their family going through a paid car wash or someone doing it in the driveway, but they may not understand, what does a school fundraiser mean? And so maybe, talking about or pulling up pictures of maybe a cheerleading team or a basketball team doing a car wash to raise money for their team, to get them the idea of what would be happening. So that your idea is if a car came through and that guy that's squirting it, he squirted on, 4 tires with the cleaner, how many cars would that be? There's nothing wrong with even grabbing a matchbox car to kind of show kids, this car has 4 wheels. So, and you don't want to make this easier. The idea of tasks is not to just say, well, I washed 3 cars. How many wheels did I wash? We really are trying to make this a little bit more rigorous and a little bit more higher thinking. So if you went through and a car went through and there was 20 wheels all together, how would you do it? Obviously, this example that we're showing is on the higher end of the task. And like I said, you can differentiate it in many different ways. We want to start off with, instead of just doing the drawing, they're thinking, we want students to have counters, whether they're pennies and nickels, or they are, counters in your classroom, or if you're doing this task at home and you're using cereal, whatever it might be, you want them to act out this concept. I would prefer that you don't count out 20 exact counters, because the idea of the task is to see how the child handles the math thinking. So I might give a bowl of counters and see what they decide to do. On my mat, I sort of came up with possible solutions that I've seen in classrooms. Sometimes the vantage point of a child looking at a car is they see a car having 2 wheels. If you look out in your street and you see a car parked, maybe from where you're looking at it, it looks like they have 2 wheels. So these students might have grabbed out their 20 counters. That the example at the top of the page, I've seen a lot of kids come through and say, well, I washed 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is not necessarily wrong. I remember a student saying to me, yeah, I washed 10 cars because my friend did the other side, so that was how many cars went through, but the idea here is that this child might be more of an apprentice in the concept that we're thinking. The example that we see below is where a person counted out their 20 counters, they grouped them into groups of 4, and they went through and counted their groups to represent a car. So I washed 1 car, 2 cars, 3 cars, 4 cars, 5 cars. If your child or if students are doing this in a way and maybe only making one counter or two. You don't want to take over the counters and auto correct them. We are not the giver of all the information. Let them grapple with the idea. Let them have productive struggle. That's the idea of tasks. That it's not like when we grew up and just math is cut and dry. Let them think about how they're doing it. Once students get good at doing tasks with, manipulatives of some sort, you can move into them drawing their mathematical thinking. We want to do quick draws here. I've kind of filled out this math task sheet as an example for us where I've decided to use circles, and I put a ring around those because I, really wanted to show that it represented one car. Kids could, put 4 in the middle and then put a 1 by it to show that it's doing one car, but I've now taken the concrete concept and drawn a pictorial representation for my mathematical thinking. Again, if I'm doing this with littles and I'm really talking about maybe only 8 wheels or even 4 wheels, how many cars are they creating? So I'm going to count my cars. I put my answer in here to know that they're solving for cars. The recording portion of this could really, for pre-K K1, could really be a dictation of what they've done. Second graders could write it on their own. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong way of doing this. It's just how they process doing the task. So I put first I got 20 counters for each of the wheels. Next, I put them into groups of 4. I counted my groups and there were 5. So I washed 5 cars. Now, kids might not have this completely accurate to the way that you want it, but you're getting them to explain it. You want to do open-ended questions, not leading questions, So, you want it to the point to get the child to do as much thinking as possible. So as we start off the task, we use this anticipatory set to get them in the frame of what we're talking about. We then have them, get the scenario acted out concretely and kind of look at their ways that they're doing it. When ready, they're going to go ahead and do it in their drawing and then come up with their sort of abstract way, whether it's an algorithm, them showing the total, however you want them to do that, and then a dictated, or they could write their response as to recording their mathematical thinking. So we hope that you found our video helpful on how to use the car wash task at home or maybe even in your classroom. We hope that you'll connect with us on our website on SIS4teachers.org. We have lots of great things in our math task with video tutorials and examples for this. We also encourage you to like us on any of our social media channels from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, all with the same handle at SIS4teachers. Thanks so much for joining us.